Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great wherever you're watching from today. We have some big developments. Russian warplanes have violated NATO airspace. That is right. You heard me correctly. Russian warplanes once again have violated NATO airspace as things continue to escalate against Vladimir Putin, the war in Ukraine, the United States of America. We have many developments that have happened over the past several days, and now Russian warplanes are back in the mix, back in play as this situation continues to get hotter and hotter with every passing moment. So I'm going to give you the updates about the warplanes, what happened, how did NATO respond, all of that and much more. As always, before we get started, please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free. Cost you guys absolutely nothing at all. Huge boost to the channel. Comment with your thoughts below. Do you want to see Russian planes that violate NATO airspace be shot down? Let me know in the comments below. How do you think this situation ends? Let me know in the comments. Hit that bell. All notifications turned on. You won't miss a thing. And then right here, Instagram, David_Hookstead, X, D Hookstead. That's where you can find me on social media. My DMs are wide open. Please send me any information you have. So we had previous incidents where multiple Russian fighter jets breached Estonian airspace. Of course, Estonia is a part of NATO. Those planes were not shot down. NATO did scramble fighters in response to chase them out of Estonian airspace. We had drones in Poland. We had drones in Romania. The drones in Poland were blasted out of the sky. When all that happened, there were multiple meetings where NATO said, hey, listen, we're going to start shooting these planes down. President Trump came out and said, we're going to start shooting these planes down. The European Union said, we need to start shooting these planes down. Because the reality of the situation is Russia is testing NATO. They're poking and prodding to see what they can get away with. And if you let them get away with it, they're just going to continue to do it. You got to stand up to the bully. You might have to shoot some planes down to get that done. And then Putin's going to realize that that's just not going to be tolerated anymore. But he hasn't learned that yet because multiple Russian aircraft, this is a report from Reuters on October 23rd. You are seeing this on October 24th. It says 2 Russian military aircraft entered a NATO member Lithuania's airspace on Thursday for about 18 seconds. So they got in and got out, probably trying to see what type of response it would draw. Lithuania's military said the 2 aircraft, an Su-30 fighter and an that's an Il-78 refueling tanker, were possibly on a refueling training mission when they flew 700 meters into Lithuania from Kaliningrad region at about 1500 GMT, the military said. This incident once again shows that Russia is behaving like a terrorist state, disregarding international law and the security of neighboring countries. Prime Minister Inga Rugini said on Facebook, Lithuania is safe. Together with our allies, we look after and we will defend every centimeter of our country. Spanish Eurofighter Typhoon jets from NATO Baltic Air Police were scrambled in response and are patrolling the area, the military said. 3 Russian military jets violated Estonia's airspace for 12 minutes on September 19. NATO scrambled fighters and escorted them out. Russia denied its planes entered Estonia, saying Tallinn had no evidence to back up its claims and was seeking to ratchet up east-west tensions. 9 days earlier, more than 20 Russian drones entered Polish airspace. The NATO jets shot some of them down, the first time the alliance member had fired on Russian targets since the start of the war in Ukraine. The U.S. general serving as NATO's top commander said earlier this week that Russia appeared to have been deterred by NATO's firm response to the incursions into Polish and Estonian airspace, but Moscow is continued to test the boundaries. So right now, I'm going to pull up an Su-30 so you guys can get a look at it. So this is the plane. Share this tab so you guys can see it on your screen. This is the plane that breached the airspace. This is a look at it. So you guys can get an idea of what kind of fighter jet it was. Some information about it. Manufactured starting in 1972, still manufactured. First flight date was 1989, 35 years ago. First originally built by the Soviet Union, then following the Soviet Union's collapse. Obviously, it's built by Russia. More than 630 of them have been built. It says the the Sukhoi Su-30 is a twin-engine, two-seat, super maneuverable fighter aircraft developed in the Soviet Union in the late 1980s by Russia's Sukhoi Aviation Corporation. It is a multi-role fighter for all-weather air-to-air interdiction missions. The Russian Aerospace Forces were reported to have 130 Su-30SMs in operation as of 2024. So if we get down here, let me highlight this portion for you. Crew of 2 people, length of 21.9 meters, empty weight, almost more than 39,000 pounds. It says it can hit speeds of up to 1,300 miles per hour, Mach 2. Let's see what it has for guns. So it has one 30 millimeter cannon with 150 rounds, can carry a variety of different missiles on it, as you can see. So that is the plane that breached the airspace. Now I'll show this on the screen. It says Lithuanian Ministry of National Defense. Today, Russian aircraft briefly entered Lithuanian airspace. Our forces acted quickly with NATO jets on patrol. Lithuania remains strong and ready. Every inch of the country is protected. I'll put this up for you. Let me read that real quick. It says Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda has announced that Russian military aircraft briefly violated Lithuania's airspace tonight with fighter jets from NATO Baltics air policing mission being scrambled to respond to the threat directed at Lithuania by Russia.
I strongly condemn the violation of Lithuanian airspace recently by the fighter jet and transport plane of Russian Federation from Kaliningrad region side. This is cruel violation of international law and territorial sovereignty of Lithuania, and we have to react to this.
So notice how he said there at the end, they have to react to this. My biggest question is, why were the planes not shot down? Now, they were only briefly in NATO airspace over Lithuania, but at some point, we've got to put an end to this. We have got to put an end to the Russians doing whatever they want, violating NATO airspace, and getting no consequences for it. And this is coming as the peace summit between Trump and Putin was canceled. Don't think for 1 second this is an accident. We've got the Russians scrambling their strategic forces for testing. They launched the Yars missile. They are violating NATO airspace. They will not negotiate. The United States is slapping sanctions on them. And all of this is pointing towards an escalating situation. So I'm going to put this up on the screen for you now. This comes from, let me put this on the screen for you. Russia is livid with the sanctions that have been put on them against their oil companies that Trump just did. It says a top Kremlin official said President Donald Trump has launched an act of war against Russia with fresh sanctions on its largest oil companies and the cancellation of a proposed peace summit with President Vladimir Putin. This comes from Dmitry Medvedev, the former leader of Russia and now the deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council, said, if any of the many commentators still harbor illusions, here you go. The U.S. is our enemy, and their talkative peacemaker has now fully taken the road to war with Russia. So he is saying we're on the road to war with Russia. That's coming directly from Medvedev. So we have a situation that is quickly spiraling out of control, which I've been telling you for weeks, and I've accurately predicted a lot of how this was going to go. I predicted the peace summit wasn't going to happen. I predicted the Russians would not cooperate. I predicted diplomacy would fail. The Russians would continue to escalate. The Ukrainians would continue to strike. And that's exactly what we're seeing happen across the region. So right now we are on the brink. And this latest NATO incursion into NATO airspace is the latest sign that this is not going away. This is not going to end. This is going to become the new normal. And that's what it is until something major pops off or the Russians back down. But you got to shoot these planes down, in my opinion. You cannot let the Russians get away with it. You got to have peace through strength. And you got to let the Russians know if you're going to play a dumb game like this, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit incredibly hard. So that's where we're at. That's the latest updates. I will bring you more information when I have it, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this whole situation. Let me know how you think this should end. How do you think it will end? Comment below. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Totally free. Cost you guys absolutely nothing at all. Huge, huge boost to the channel. Hit that notifications bell. All notifications turned on. You won't miss a thing. And then right here, Instagram, David_Hookstead, X, D Hookstead. That is where you can find me on social media. My DMs are wide open. Send me any tips or information you have. I'll see you all next time.